Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Thursday. Coming to you early. Today would have been a good example of what a hedge stack is. So we didn't like SP2, which is kind of why we defaulted to Shields a lot, or at least I did. And I used him a bunch, but I also did one Twins hedge stack, which means that one of my lineups is full Twins. So if you're wrong about something, you can ultimately a lot of times bring all your money back with that one. So for those of you maybe new to DFS, especially MLB, that is something that works a lot. And we bring back to a start last year was Matt mentioned the other day the Mike Montgomery start, where it was like a 3-game afternoon slate, and Montgomery was like 94% owned or something. And we had stacked the Brewers that scored like 14 runs that day. And when 5 GPPs, I brought back like 25 times my buy-in on one simple hedge stack. So just a point in case for those of you who are new.
Who knows if it'll work today, but it might. Hopefully Shields can get out of this mess.
Yeah, he just got an out, so hopefully that won't be that big of a deal. But we move on. It's just a weird day to start with. Like we said, that kid from the Dodgers got scratched during warm-ups. They said that he was trying to throw a slider.
That could be a good thing, like we were talking about. Give me that 0.
Exactly. Okay, let's run through this bad boy pretty quick. All right, so we've talked this one out. We are both in full agreement. Garrett Cole is basically a must play today, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's just the best option, and I like cheaper bats, so for me, it is.
I mean, what's his worst start this year? 15 points. There's literally a whole bunch of other starters. It is entirely possible. There's no other pitcher here that scores 15 today. I mean, it's likely somebody will. It's likely somebody will, but put it this way: only one other pitcher today averages over 15.
Yeah, second point is well taken. Like, we don't know. Yeah. Okay. So I think the point is that someone or a couple of people will finish over 15, but all these guys could not finish under 15. All these guys could finish under 15 except Cole, basically.
Exactly. And the guys that average the most points, being Cole Hamels has to pitch at home versus Houston. And Matt Boyd, who's pitched above his head, has to be at Boston. So you don't even like them.
Exactly. Don't even like them.
All right. So Shields got out of the first, got a strikeout. Hopefully he can recoup from that, and it'll be no big deal. And then I believe Cargo just had an RBI single.
Cargo had an RBI single, and then Story lined out.
So there goes my boy Cargo. Hopefully Shields can get things going. And I was lucky enough that I won off to Escobar in cash. So hopefully that works out. Anyways, back to this. So we got to start with Cole. And I don't think Hamels is an insane to play him, but the problem is I'm not going to put myself down to 3,500 offensive guy, hoping that Hamels pitches well in a great hitter's park against a good team. So he's out.
He's out.
Okay. Now Mike Leake, I think we pretty well agree on him right here that he should be relatively popular today.
Yeah, I think so.
Just had a really nice start against the same Tampa Bay team. However, that 8 strikeouts, and I used him that day, so I got a little lucky right there. But that 8 strikeouts is not Mike Leake. His high, other than that, 7.66 and a bunch of 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Yeah, I like the Tampa stack. In cash games, I think Leake is going to get love because the only 2 guys to even look at for SP2 in cash are Leake and your boy from Boston. So in GPP, I love stacking against Leake.
So I'm totally on board if you want to play Leake in cash, and I am totally on board if you want to stack against him in GPPs. I get both sides of it. I don't think you have to do either. This could be the quote-unquote Manny special where you just ignore this spot. But I think there's arguments for all of them today. And quite frankly, Mike Leake is one of those guys who looks really good for a while and then really terrible for a while. And we just don't know who he's going to beat tonight. He's pitched well lately, but that could turn on a dime. And I love the idea of stacking against the popular Mike Leake. So I'm all aboard with it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So after that, I don't care if it is Baltimore. My desire to throw Jaime Garcia out there is somewhere between 0 and 0.
I don't hate him, man. I really don't. With our SP options today, he seems to be having a decent game followed by a bad game. The trends are a good game here, or at least a decent game. I don't know. Baltimore sucks. He just threw 20 at Philly. Again, it's risky, but I like him more than I like Mike Leake.
Yeah, you probably don't. One, but I get your point, though. I get your point.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there, and I'm not trying to talk good on Harmy Garcia. It's just like if both of them are shitty, but Leake's going to be popular and no one's going to own Garcia, give me Garcia. That's all it is.
All right. So both of these cats have been around for like 10 years now. And these guys are both former NL Central guys. I've watched each of them pitch, and they are both Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You really can't predict them based on matchup. You don't know what you're going to get out of either one of these guys. We've seen Jaime Garcia toss some mother effing gems. I think he had like a 50-point game against the Brewers 2 years ago.
Yeah, I will say though, like, why is his price increased here? Like, I hate that, but like, and it's not one like, oh, his price is higher, like people won't be on him. Like, no one was going to be on him at 4K. So like, I don't. It's just more salary spent on him.
Yep. I will flat out tell you, I never have any way to predict Jaime Garcia. He pitches well when he shouldn't. He pitches crappy when he shouldn't. You don't really know what you're going to get. But it is a Baltimore team that isn't very good, that strikes out a ton. So while I don't have the cojones to go here, your points make sense. And we've seen him with good starts before.
Honestly, for me, it depends. Like, I won't play Mike Leake. I can tell you that right now. I like Tampa. It's very clear. Depends what happens with the Boston guy. If the Boston guy ends up being, going under the radar because people don't want to play a rookie, then I have interest there. I just don't want to play him at chalk because we've seen what happens with these young pitchers.
Sorry, I pulled the mat right there and got distracted by the game that was on. Schebler just missed a home run, and I used him a little bit, and I wanted that.
Yeah, he did. I was saying that, like, so Beeks for Boston. If he goes under the radar, then I have a lot of interest in him because I think he's probably right now better than Jaime Garcia. But I think, like you, that him and Leake are going to be popular. So that makes me just want to pivot off them because neither of those guys should be chalky, in my opinion. I will say, though, I like Beeks a lot more than Mike Leake.
Yeah, all makes sense. I'll say Jason Hamill had a couple of really, really good outings against St. Louis and Texas, and he's another guy we've seen him with good starts in the past. I am not a Jason Hamill guy, so for me to roster him is a little bit ballsy. But you want to know what? Jason Hamill, Mike Leake, and Jaime Garcia are all very, very similar. They've all been veterans that have been around for a while. They've all had seasons where they looked like borderline all-stars. They've all had points of their career where they look like absolute gas cans. Who's going to be the best one today and the worst one? Why don't you just go to your drawer, pull out a piece of paper, write their names 3 times, put them in a hat, and try to guess? Because all 3 of them are really unpredictable. They're all location-based pitchers that on any given day you have no freaking clue how their location's going to be.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. It's in the same vein as the other 2 guys. I prefer Garcia, but I mean, hell, why not Hamill?
I bet you would agree with this. If we had an ownership map of where they were going to go, I would want the least owned one.
Exactly. That's like what it is for me. Like, if it somehow Mike Leake was like, I don't know, I hate Leake in this spot, so I don't think I'd use him no matter what. But you're right. Whoever's the lowest owned here, give me that guy.
We can't totally predict that, and I don't really know who it's going to be, but I can probably guess that Mike Leake will be the highest owned.
I will say, like, this is out there. Like, I don't know. These options are so bad. Like, is Boyd crazy here, considering how bad Boston's been against lefties and considering that he's better than Leake, Garcia, or Hamill? He's also not good, though. That's the problem.
No, he's shown major regression lately, and the strikeouts have fallen off with only 7 strikeouts over his past 16 innings. That's more of who we think Matt Boyd has been. I was bigger on him earlier than you were, and he's pitched a little above his head this year, and I'll give him some credit for pitching better, but that 3.23 ERA and whip under 1.1, that's by far the best we've ever seen him play.
Yeah.
I can't toss him out at Boston. I can't do it. If you can, you got bigger stones than me.
I can't. I like Jaime Garcia more, and that's sad.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that one. It's just a better matchup.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. Like Baltimore versus Boston.
All right, so Stanek you can't play because he's just a reliever. What about David Hess?
So, like, I kind of like Toronto bats to, like, do something today because they just got held off by the Yankees. But that's my out there thinking. Like, the realistic, like, this just right in front of you way of thinking is that, like, why not Hess? He throws a slider, which Toronto really struggles with. Toronto looked awful this weekend this past series against the Yankees. I think that he's in play. Maybe I like him even more now.
Yeah, now that I wasn't even really looking at him because he's not a big strikeout guy. But we were talking about Paul Blackburn earlier too, but like Blackburn is legitimately like 3.5 strikeouts per nine, and on a 70 pitch count for the day.
I don't hate the pitch count because of the 40, because of the 4K salary, but the lack of strikeouts, like the lack of being able to even get like 5, really can hurt you.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, and Blackburn's a guy that I used once or twice last year, so I kind of studied up on him. And he has to pitch perfect to reach double digits because he is such a low strikeout guy. And on a 75 pitch count, like his upside might be 13 points.
Yeah, very well could be.
So, yeah, you know what? I don't like Toronto bats, so maybe you could talk me into Hess. I think Hess might be a pivot off of Beeks. But what we like about Beeks is he's just such a strikeout guy. 80 Ks in 56 innings this year in the minors. That's not quite like Josh Hader numbers for Ks per inning, but that is really high.
Yeah, how does that compare to like what we've seen from like Reyes and Bieber the past couple of times?
It's higher. It's the highest one that I can recall.
Is it really? Is it significantly higher than both those guys?
Not significantly higher than a Reyes, but higher.
Okay. I mean, that says a lot right there. So, yeah, I'm scared off a little bit because of that last start by Reyes, and I think this slate will be popular. But he's cheap for those strikeouts. That's the thing.
And we've talked very glowingly about Detroit lately, and we like them more than most. I am more scared of Detroit at home and in day games. They have a couple of weird splits, specifically where they are like, they've got to be one of the top day offenses in the league.
Yeah, day offenses versus lefties. I mean, I think they've got to be the number one.
Yeah, like you were going to hear this from both of us for the rest of the year. If they are at home against a lefty during the day, it's like automatically going to be my favorite stack. As long as it's not like, Clayton Kershaw or something like that.
As long as it's like the Andrew Heaney's of the world.
Yeah, Andrew Heaney or anybody kind of like in that vein. Like if they were going up against their own teammate, Matt Boyd or Jaime Garcia. They just got to Garcia.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even be scared to pull them against the Hamels. I think that would be a great contrarian stack during the day.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Hopefully we get to see that at some point.
So, okay, we agree. Cole is a must-play today. After that, like I don't mind Mike Leake in cash, but I love Matt's point of stacking against him in GPPs based on the popularity. And then like Garcia and Hamel are going to be less popular than Leake, and these guys are all kind of birds of a feather. You're just hoping that they have their good stuff, and they very often don't.
Yeah, like I fully get like why Mike Leake is going to be popular here because he's coming off 2 nice starts and Tampa sucks. I wish that you're right. I like the guy that's less owned out of them. Who went yard for St. Louis? Ozuna?
Martinez. All right.
Oh, there it is.
My boy. Pretty much the only guy who did anything for me last night. Anyway. Okay. Catcher. I don't mind taking a stab with Gaddis and GPPs. Homered last night. He's got a few career homers off Hamels. We can get on board with that.
Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Salvador Perez, still obviously one of the best. He is the best catcher on the board as far as talent goes.
Yes, definitely. I think that the Detroit guys are in play as one-offs against Beeks even.
Sure. Zunino's always a home run candidate.
Sure.
I mean, you're literally playing for the home run with him for sure, but he is a candidate for it.
Vasquez.
I was just going to say, who heated up last night and had a monster game? Vasquez. And that's 2 home runs in his last 3 games. So I can get on board with that one in a heartbeat.
Most definitely.
All right, moving over to first base.
You know who else that we didn't touch on? Ramos.
Sure, definitely. And that would be part of your Tampa stack.
Yeah, exactly. First base is like easy now for me. Actually, no, there's a bunch of guys in play. I like Olsen a lot. He's been really good for us. I think he's firmly in play.
Yeah, cooled down a little bit to start the game, but ended with a hit to kind of keep that hit streak going last night. That could be a nice momentum to put him back into the day today. He's just been really good lately in his average velocity off the ball. And I didn't see his other at bats. For all I know, he hit 2 line drives.
Yeah, he's a bunch of his outs have been hard hit recently, so I think he's solid. He's also 4-6, so he's got to be a priority.
Yeah, that's a big price tag for Matt Olson. You're catching his high price because you're catching him in a hot streak.
Yeah, exactly.
you like the Blue Jay bats a little bit. I'm not really a Blue Jays guy, but I absolutely understand on a weak first base like this why you'd want to play Justin Smoke.
Yeah, that's all it is. I'm really starting to get more intrigued by just using Tampa, and Tampa's got 2 first basemen I would use, so it sucks you can't play those guys together.
Joey Gallo has faced Garrett Cole 6 times. He has 4 strikeouts and 2 homers.
Interesting.
I mean, this is a spot where you could play Gallo even with Cole in your lineup and just hope he hits a dong.
Definitely.
I mean, he's got power up there with the Stantons and the Judges of the world, but we kind of both like Brad Miller. So he is now 5 for his last 8 with 3 doubles. And he's also, I put a lot of credence into BVP off Mike Leake because he's got a funky delivery. He's like 4 for 9 with 3 extra base hits off him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Brad Miller a ton here. I used him one of those games against Washington when I needed cap space, and he came through with a nice double, RBI double. I don't want to play him at first, but that's the only position you can play him at. He bats cleanup for Tampa. Crone and Brad Miller both firmly in play for me. Adrian's a 1 yard.
Let's do that. All right. Well, that's what you get when you play, what's his face? James Shields. I've been using him a lot lately very well, but apparently that's going to come to an end today.
Yeah.
All right.
I played really light today.
Me too. Okay.
I don't like the night slate either. I'm excited for tomorrow's slate, and I haven't even looked at it yet.
All right. Second base. I mean, I can't prioritize the Altuve's salary, but he's probably your best option.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Jed Lowry, he's really kind of cooled down a little bit, but overall, but he is playing good baseball right now. So actually, you know what? I might side with Lowry over Altuve.
Definitely. You know, I think that for me, because I don't really like this position, I like Joey Wendell.
I don't think D. Gordon's nuts either. I like him as a little catalyst on top of that lineup. There you go. Mr. Wendell.
Like, again, there's nothing sexy at all about this. It's just part of the Tampa stack at a weak position. That's all it is.
In scopes, a power possibility, I guess. And of course, the Red Sox guys. I know Nunez was a disappointment to a large percentage of the field last night, but I still can. You can sign me up for Red Sox pretty much any day.
Definitely.
It is a weak position, though. No questions about it.
And if you want to completely punt it, I mean, Ryan Goins at 2,700 could be in the lineup, and he's too cheap if he's in the lineup.
All right. Third base. You got a bunch of guys again here. This is why we're just not really a big fan of this slate overall. Like, sure, Bregman, fine. I am not super pumped about going there, but all right. I guess Moustakas could work for you as well. He's always, one swing away from a home run. Matt Chapman, fine. There's nobody here that really gets me super excited. So, and then Kyle Seager, I guess, back-to-back games with a home run. The hardest part about playing anybody against the Rays is you just really don't know who they're going up against. So you're just kind of guessing on who the matchup is because they do all this weird, funky bullpen stuff.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way as you at third base here, like exactly the same. There's a bunch of guys that are like, sure.
That's pretty much this whole slate offensively.
Yeah.
Which is why
Is there anyone lower? Is there anyone lower at third? Valencia is great.
Matt Duffy.
Sure, yeah, I have interest in Duffy there. And is that thing about? Well, probably not. But he was hitting righties really well. He's not hitting anyone really well recently, so no.
Yeah. So yeah, as part of the stack, I guess that would definitely work.
Tampa stack probably going to be leaving money on the table.
Yeah, and that's fine on this one.
Sure.
Well, plus you can one off of Machado then though too.
Definitely.
I mean, Manny Machado is just one of the best hitters in baseball, is what it really comes down to. So if you can Tampa stack and then plug in a Machado and a JD Martinez, rock and roll.
Oh man, that sounds really exciting.
So It's all about, like you always say, about the gamesmanship. Other than that, like Bogarts is swinging a solid bat right now too, so I like him tonight. He's got a lot of extra base hits lately, 4 straight games in double digits, 9 or more in 6 of his last 8. I think he makes a plethora of sense. Segura continues to swing a hot bat. Um, or again, you can go right back to those Boston guys as well. But this is a spot I think you try to spend up because I have interest in Machado, Bogarts, and Segura.
I agree. I like Bogarts quite a bit here. I think I like Bogarts more than Segura, which is rare for me.
Sure. Again, I like them all. So it's another one where we don't really know which of these guys is going to have the best days. It's like, assuming they hit a line drive, does Bogarts hit a line drive and Segura hits the gap? That's really hard to predict. Or flip it around. Does Bogarts hit the gap while Segura's line drive, plops right to the left fielder? No clue.
Yeah, exactly. Or do the 2 guys in front of Bogarts get on, and you know what I mean? He's able to get us. Like, who knows?
Exactly. I mean, they're 2 very good players. I could sign off on either one of them in any format.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving over to the outfield position. Now, if you can prioritize the money today, which is possible if you pay down, then you can rock and roll at JD Martinez and at Chris Davis.
Yeah, JD Martinez is a priority, but wow, man, Benintendi averaging more than him is impressive, and even more impressive is when you see how many points Mookie Betts is averaging.
Exactly. That's why any day you can put all 3 of the Red Sox outfielders in there is usually a good thing to take a look at. We would say JD over Benintendi today. It was simply because there's a lefty on the mound.
Yeah, I like JD. My top guys on this page are going to be JD and Castellanos.
Yeah, I like Chris Davis too a lot today, just because he's swinging a hot bat. 4 for his last 7 with 3 extra base hits, 2 walks in there. Both Chris Davis and Hamill have splits that actually favor the hitter right here. So I like Chris Davis, JD, and I like Castellanos as something, a way to be different. He's just a left-handed masher.
Yeah, and I like who hasn't been as good as he has been before, but I like Teoscar Hernandez in this spot.
Sure, I can get that. Nelson Cruz kind of still swinging a hot bat too.
Yeah.
All right. Moving down from there, let's work our way down to a different spectrum of hitter.
Revenge game for Denard Span.
I think you're saying that a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I don't mind Denard Span right here.
Yeah, I don't mind it either. Definitely tongue-in-cheek there. He played for Tampa for like a month.
Jorge Soler, nah. I saw Fantasy Labs pimping Granderson, which I frankly do not understand. But if you want to, I suppose, not my guy.
I'd only use him in a Blue Jay stack because he bats lead off.
Josh Field, if he's leading off again against Mike Leake as part of your stack. And it's pretty ugly down low today.
So I mentioned this on the public video, and he's not in the player pool, but Tampa called up one of their best prospects, Bowers. I believe he's going to play first. So, that might mess up if you want to pull him up. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to, set their lineup, but I think that's an added bonus for their lineup.
Bowers? Jake Bowers?
Yeah. I didn't know he was on the player pool.
You have to fade Miller for him then, though. But yeah, I don't know much about him, so I'll have to lean on you for that one.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get no love. He's a power hitting prospect. I know they've been waiting to call him up. And wow, Tampa has 3 first basemen now in play. I might do in my 3 lineups each one of those Tampa guys.
All right, let's line up build a little bit now. Another case for Brad Miller over Matt Olson is simply the fact that we like the high-priced outfielders today, so then you can prioritize them. Which, if you can go down there and get him, then go down to catcher. Wasn't there a guy that we talked about, Vasquez?
Yeah.
Or if he's not in the lineup, Swearheart, who's supposed to eventually be better.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I go over to second base, and I like Jed Lowry, but this kind of drives home the case for a Nunez, Wendell, somebody in this price range, right? Like
Nunez, whatever.
Just we don't really care which guy it is right now. We just care about their price. So Uh, Holt, your boy Wendell, my boy Nunez. We're not really thrilled about any of them, but just that price is all we care about.
Probably go
All right.
Seager here.
Yep, I was just going to say that. And then over here.
Here's where it gets interesting because you either go, in my opinion, you either go all the way up or you go to like Goins at 2.7.
Yeah, or Nunez here. Because ultimately, we want at least two of these guys, right? JD Martinez and then either Castellanos or Chris Davis. If you're playing Beeks, I think you probably, especially in GPP, you go for it and take Chris Davis.
But if you're not, then you play Castellanos. I agree.
Yep. Full agreement. You can grab Nunez right there, and then you just got to pick out your one cheap outfielder. Trey Mancini.
Sure.
Almonte, Smith Jr., if he happens to be leading off, Gomez, whatever. But you can see how you can kind of build a lineup today.
And this is where also, I know it doesn't matter for this. Like, if you dropped down from Nunez to Goins, and you'll have even more for this outfielder,
So you could drop down there.
There's just a lot of ways to work it, like we talk about. Like, this lineup right here is really prioritizing outfielders. I'm not going to that much, but it makes sense.
Or you could prioritize Xander Bogaerts right here.
For sure.
Over third base. Play Valencia.
Definitely.
And then Mancini, because you get a little bit of that Baltimore exposure off Jaime Garcia. But you got Chris Davis, JD Martinez, and Xander Bogaerts with Garrett Cole. So that's another way to go, for example. But
I think my outfield decision is going to be easy in the sense that, man, Machado, even with Jaime Garcia, is really appealing here.
Yeah. That's the problem is I think you have to prioritize your money for big money at the shortstops because we talked over Bogaerts, Machado, Segura, and then in the outfield, JD Martinez, Chris Davis, and Nick Castellanos. So I think you got to reserve big money for shortstop and outfield tonight, which goes to our point of Brad Miller or the other rookie from Tampa, just so because I would so much rather prioritize Bogaerts or Machado over Matt Olson today.
Usually there's outfielders we can pick from, that we got to wait for lineups to come out. And I just want to reiterate, Bowers, only GPPs. Miller's the better play. Maybe I'm getting too excited about the shiny new toy. I just think he's a GPP option. I'll have him in one lineup because I'm stacking Tampa. If I wasn't, I wouldn't go out of my way for him. Brad Miller's a guy you can use no matter what.
Yeah, should have a good spot in the lineup. I mean, we're assuming the Bowers kid plays today. I don't think they would call him up and not play him, but obviously you have to verify that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right, guys, it's not exactly the prettiest of slates today for either one of them. Hopefully something works out. Otherwise, save your money for Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Thanks.